There comes a point in every man's life when he looks in the mirror and questions who he really is. Not the version the world wants him to be, not the mask he wears to please others, but the raw, unfiltered truth staring back at him. And in that silence, one question echoes louder than all. Am I acting like a man, or am I running from it? Being a man isn't about muscles, money, or fancy suits. It's about responsibility. It's about standing tall when life beats you down, about protecting those you love, and carrying weight even when your knees want to buckle. Too many men today have forgotten this. They live in comfort, chasing distractions, avoiding discipline, hiding from pain. And when life demands strength, they crumble. Acting like a man means embracing hardship. It means staring fear in the face and refusing to bow. It means sacrificing comfort today to build strength for tomorrow. It means living by principles, not feelings. Because a man who is ruled by emotion is no man at all. He is a prisoner. If you truly want to act like a man, you must demand more of yourself than the world demands of you. Most men today are slaves to comfort, and they don't even realize it. They wake up late, scroll through their phones, eat food that destroys their body, and call it living. But the truth is, comfort is the silent killer of masculinity. It robs you of drive, steals your ambition, and leaves you weak when life demands strength. Discipline is the only weapon that can break the chains of comfort. Discipline is waking up when you don't feel like it, pushing your body when it screams for rest, and choosing pain today for power tomorrow. Comfort whispers that you deserve rest, that you've done enough, that life should be easy. Discipline laughs at comfort because discipline knows that greatness is forged in struggle, not in softness. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you carve a stronger version of yourself out of the stone of weakness. The problem with comfort is that it disguises itself as happiness. It tells you that watching hours of entertainment, eating junk, and lying in bed is freedom, when in reality it is a cage. You think you're free because you do what feels good, but you're trapped by your own lack of control. Discipline breaks this illusion. It teaches you that true freedom comes from controlling yourself, not from indulging yourself. A man who cannot control his body, his mind, and his habits is not free. He is owned by them. Comfort makes you soft, lazy, dependent, and eventually broken. Discipline hardens your mind, builds resilience, and forces you to face the pain that comfort convinces you to run from. The stronger you become through discipline, the less the world can control you. A man who lives in comfort is fragile, but a man who lives in discipline is unbreakable. Every man must decide which path he will follow, the path of least resistance or the path of fire. Comfort is the path of least resistance. It requires nothing from you. That's why so many choose it, because it's easy. But the path of discipline is a fire that burns away weakness, and only the strong can endure it. Discipline means going to the gym when you're tired, working on your goals when you're uninspired, and refusing to let excuses rule your life. Comfort says tomorrow. Discipline says today. Comfort says rest. Discipline says push. Comfort says you've done enough. Discipline says do more. The choice between comfort and discipline is the choice between mediocrity and greatness. No man who surrendered to comfort has ever achieved power, respect, or legacy. Only those who chose discipline created a life worth remembering. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about alignment. It is the act of aligning your actions with your vision, even when your emotions resist. Comfort relies on emotion. It tells you to stop when you're tired, to indulge when you crave, to quit when it's hard. But emotions are unreliable, temporary, and destructive when unchecked. Discipline does not care about your feelings. It demands that you act in accordance with your purpose, not your mood. Comfort wants you to live for now. Discipline makes you live for the future. Comfort wants you to consume. Discipline makes you build. Comfort wants you weak. Discipline makes you strong. And the more you choose discipline over comfort, the more you realize that the life you want is only possible through sacrifice. Nothing great was ever built by men who put feelings before duty. Discipline is what separates men who dream from men who achieve. The truth is, comfort feels good in the moment but destroys you in the long run, while discipline feels painful in the moment but rewards you for a lifetime. This is the paradox most men cannot understand. Comfort is fast food. It's cheap, easy, and instantly satisfying, but it slowly kills you. Discipline is training. It's hard, exhausting, and uncomfortable, but it transforms you into a weapon. Comfort is seductive because it requires no effort. Discipline is powerful because it demands effort. Weak men chase comfort because they want pleasure now. Strong men choose discipline because they want victory later. Every rep in the gym, every early morning, every rejection of distraction is an investment into the man you're becoming. Comfort will take everything from you and give you nothing in return. Discipline will take your excuses and give you strength, respect, and freedom. When you live by discipline, you stop asking life to be easier and instead become stronger. Comfort trains you to pray for less struggle, less responsibility, and less challenge. Discipline trains you to carry more weight, to welcome struggle, and to turn pain into power. Comfort says life is unfair and hides from the storm. Discipline says life is unfair and builds the strength to survive it. Comfort convinces men to play small, to avoid risk, to settle for average. Discipline forces men to think bigger, to embrace risk, to chase greatness. Comfort makes you a victim of circumstances. Discipline makes you a master of circumstances. Every man who has achieved greatness had to sacrifice comfort to do it. They endured sleepless nights, endless work, relentless struggle. But they came out forged in fire, while the men who chose comfort stayed soft, unnoticed, and forgotten. Discipline is the ultimate test of masculinity because it is the refusal to bend to weakness. Comfort bends every man it touches. It whispers, it tempts, it makes men submit. But discipline resists. Discipline is saying no when every part of you wants to say yes. Discipline is staying focused when distractions surround you. Discipline is doing what must be done even when no one is watching. Comfort destroys men quietly. It makes them lazy fathers, unmotivated workers, weak protectors, and hollow leaders. Discipline builds men into pillars, strong husbands, relentless workers, fierce protectors, and unshakable leaders. The world does not respect men who choose comfort. It only respects men who choose discipline. A man who submits to comfort has no control over himself, and a man with no control cannot lead, cannot inspire, and cannot protect. The foundation of being a man is responsibility, not excuses. Responsibility means owning your life, every part of it, the victories and the failures, the successes and the mistakes. Weak men blame the government, the system, their family, or even luck for why they are not where they want to be. They cry about circumstances, they complain about opportunities, they point fingers everywhere but at themselves. But the truth is brutal and simple. Your life is your fault. If you are broke, it is because you didn't work hard enough or smart enough. If you are weak, it is because you didn't train. If you are lonely, it is because you didn't build value. Responsibility is the power to accept this truth and to act on it. Excuses feel good in the moment, but they rob you of progress. Responsibility feels heavy, but it gives you control. Excuses are poison for men because they remove the urgency to change. When you excuse yourself, you tell your mind that failure is acceptable, that weakness is justified, that inaction is fine. Excuses allow you to sit still while your dreams fade. Responsibility does the opposite. It forces you to confront your flaws and act anyway. Responsibility says, yes, I failed, but it was my choice and I will fix it. Excuses are the language of cowards. Responsibility is the language of warriors. Excuses look for someone else to carry the blame. Responsibility takes the weight onto your shoulders. A man who lives with excuses will always stay stuck, repeating the same cycles, while a man who accepts responsibility grows stronger with every challenge. Responsibility is not about guilt, it is about power. Because when you own your life, you own the power to change it. Most men waste their lives waiting for someone to save them. They hope a miracle will appear, a helping hand will pull them out of their misery, or that the world will finally be fair. That is the mindset of a child, not a man. Responsibility is adulthood. It is saying no one is coming to save me, so I must save myself. Excuses are the comfort blanket of men who refuse to grow up. They use excuses to justify laziness, to justify failure, to justify weakness. Responsibility strips that comfort away and forces you to face reality. You are the captain of your ship, and if it sinks, it is on you. Responsibility does not care about how unfair the world is. It only cares about how strong you will become despite it. Men who embrace responsibility build resilience, and resilience creates leaders. Leaders do not make excuses. They make results. When you carry responsibility, you stop looking for the easy way out. Excuses are always the easy way out. They are shortcuts that lead nowhere. Responsibility is the long, difficult road, but it is the only one that leads to real power. Excuses say, "It's not my fault I'm broke." Responsibility says, "I must find a way to earn." Excuses say, "I don't have time to train." Responsibility says, "I will make time." Excuses say, "Life is too hard." Responsibility says, "Life is hard, and I will grow harder." A man who takes responsibility stops being a victim. He stops begging life to be easier and starts building himself to be stronger. Excuses keep you soft and dependent. Responsibility turns you into a force that cannot be ignored. Responsibility is not about avoiding mistakes. It is about owning them, learning from them, and rising above them. Excuses destroy potential because they blind men from seeing solutions. When you live in excuses, you train your mind to always search for reasons why you cannot succeed instead of finding ways you can. Responsibility flips the perspective. It asks, "What can I do right now to change this?" That question forces action. Action creates progress, and progress builds momentum. Excuses stop you before you start. Responsibility pushes you to start before you're ready. Every man who has achieved something extraordinary had every reason to make excuses. They could have blamed their circumstances, their lack of resources, or the obstacles in their path. But they refused. They carried the weight, they accepted the pain, and they owned their choices. Responsibility is painful because it removes every excuse you cling to, but it is liberating because it gives you the keys to your destiny. Excuses lock the door. Responsibility breaks it open. The truth is, men who live on excuses are not respected. No one admires a man who blames everyone else for his failures. Excuses might win you sympathy, but they will never win you respect. Responsibility, on the other hand, commands respect because it proves strength. A man who takes responsibility shows the world that he is unafraid of struggle, unafraid of mistakes, unafraid of the truth. Excuses are cowardice dressed in words. Responsibility is courage expressed through action. The more you take responsibility, the more people trust you, follow you, and look to you for guidance. Excuses isolate you in weakness. Responsibility elevates you into leadership. A man who refuses excuses and embraces responsibility becomes unstoppable because there is nothing he cannot face and nothing he cannot overcome. Responsibility turns ordinary men into extraordinary examples, and extraordinary examples inspire generations. Responsibility is not a choice if you want to be a man. It is a duty. Excuses are an escape, but escapes always lead to weakness. Responsibility is a burden, but burdens always lead to strength. A man who accepts responsibility accepts the weight of his family, his dreams, his principles, and his destiny. He doesn't push the blame onto others. He carries it himself because he knows that the strength of his shoulders determines the strength of his life. Excuses are easy, but they are poison to the soul. Responsibility is heavy, but it is medicine to the spirit. The moment you stop making excuses is the moment you begin to transform. Responsibility will test you, break you, and rebuild you. Excuses will comfort you, weaken you, and destroy you. The difference between a man of greatness and a man of nothing is this: one chooses responsibility, the other chooses excuses in the end. Being a man is not about how you look, how much you earn, or how loudly you speak. It is about how much weight you can carry without breaking. Discipline over comfort is the law of true strength, because a man who rejects comfort builds the resilience to face storms without fear. Responsibility over excuses is the law of true freedom, because a man who owns his life gains the power to change it. When you live by discipline, you prove to yourself that your future matters more than your feelings. When you embrace responsibility, you prove that your destiny is in your hands, not in the excuses you make. These two pillars, discipline and responsibility, are what separate men who lead from men who follow, men who rise from men who collapse, men who inspire from men who disappear. The world doesn't need more comfortable, excuse-driven men. It needs warriors, protectors, and builders who can stand tall when others fall. So act like a man, not in words, but in actions. Demand discipline from yourself when comfort calls your name. Accept responsibility when excuses tempt you. That is the path to strength, to respect, to legacy. Thank you for listening. May you find the courage to rise above weakness. May you find the strength to carry your burden, and may God bless you always.